On August 31st, 1981, 24-year-old Carolyn Sue Martin's home in Madison Heights, Michigan, was filled with the bustle of family and friends. They had gathered to help her pack her belongings, knowing she was preparing for a fresh start. Carolyn, a devoted mother, was planning to leave that night with her young son, 2-year-old Mark, heading south to San Antonio, Texas. Her fiancé, Hamparsum Harry Carolyn, had recently secured a job at an auto shop there, Myuu, and wanted them to join him. Originally, Carolyn intended to travel in a caravan with her twin brother Timothy, known as Ty, who was making his own journey west to Oklahoma in the search of employment. But as the day went on, her plans shifted. That evening, Carolyn made a final stop at her mother's home in Hazel Park, Michigan, to say goodbye. Sitting with her family, she shared some unexpected news. She would no longer be traveling with Ty and had decided on a different route to Texas. Her mother and loved ones listened, unaware this would be the last time they would ever see Carolyn or young Mark. As the night deepened, Carolyn and her son set off on their journey. Days turned into weeks, then months, and there was no word from them. Concern grew into fear, and by the following spring, her family made the heartbreaking decision to file a missing persons report. Carolyn and Mark had vanished without a trace, leaving behind only unanswered questions. When police questioned Harry Carolyn about Carolyn and Mark's disappearance, his account raised far more questions than answers. He claimed that at some point during the journey after leaving from Metro Detroit, Carolyn suddenly changed her mind and decided she no longer wanted to venture to Texas. According to Harry, he pulled over along the I-75 near Toledo in Ohio and let her and Mark out of his vehicle, a black 1978 or 1979 Pontiac Grand Prix. Reports conflict on the exact year, with Michigan license plate SSC 512, which expired in 1981. The vehicle was then sold the following year in 1982 and then titled in Minnesota. Carolyn and her young son only had a single suitcase with them. Before parting ways, Harry said he handed Carolyn $4,000 in cash. Strangely, he then claimed that Carolyn had instructed him to discard the rest of her belongings. That, he insisted, was the last time he ever saw Carolyn or Mark Martin. Harry stated that he continued on towards Texas as planned, but later changed his mind after experiencing some car troubles. Instead of completing the trip, he turned back and returned to Michigan a short time later. However, his actions in the years that followed cast even further suspicions. Since Carolyn and Mark's disappearance, Harry has changed his name twice. According to the Charlie Project, he now goes by Harry Xurian, and he has refused to take a polygraph test in regards to the case. It should be noted, however, that polygraph tests are never 100% reliable, especially in regards to being evidence in court. Before the summer of 1981, Harry had very little involvement in his son Mark's life. That changed when Carolyn filed a paternity suit against him, seeking financial support for their son. In June of that year, the Macomb County Circuit Court ruled in her favour after paternity was verified and confirmed through various testing, ordering Harry to pay $30 a week in child support. Following the court's decision, Carolyn became more involved, and the strained relationship between him and Carolyn appeared to improve. By late summer, Carolyn was eager for a fresh start. She believed that she and Harry had reconciled and was looking forward to building a new life with him and Mark in Texas, but that future never came to fruition. Carolyn and Mark vanished without a trace, and Harry Koretzian remains the last known person to have seen them alive. Despite his shifting statements and refusal to take a polygraph, no direct evidence has linked Harry to the mother and son's disappearance. However, authorities consider him a person of interest. Over the decades, neither Carolyn nor Mark's social security numbers have ever been used, deepening suspicions that foul play was involved. Their case remains unsolved, leaving family and investigators searching for answers that have never come. Carolyn's brother Ty described his sister and nephew's disappearance as having left, quote, "a void in my life." He told WXYZ that when he had arrived to their parents' house to say goodbye, his sister, nephew, and Harry had already gone. Quote, "All of a sudden my heart just fell out of my chest. Right then, I knew something was wrong." Sadly, his gut instinct proved to be true, as this was the last time anyone ever saw Carolyn and Mark. The National Centre for Missing and Exploited Children created an age progression image of Mark Martin in 2019, depicting what he may look like aged 40. Ty said that looking at this digital image of his young nephew was somewhat overwhelming. Quote, "It almost took me to the floor. It was a reality check, I guess, because it wasn't that 2.5-year-old sandy blonde-haired boy. It wasn't the boy I was looking at. I was looking at a man." Ty believes that Mark is alive out there somewhere, but may not necessarily know his true identity. He had a message for his nephew, quote, "Reach out to local law enforcement. You have a family. I'm not gonna quit you. There's no quitting in my DNA. I'm going to find them, and I'm gonna get the answers." Ty Martin firmly believes Harry Koretzian knows far more than he has led people to believe, and that he needs to come forward and tell the family what really happened that day. All requests to Koretzian for comment by the media have unsurprisingly been denied. All the Martin family want are answers and justice, so they can have some sort of closure after 44 years. At the time of her disappearance, Carolyn Sue Martin was 24 years old. She is described as a Caucasian female of medium build, standing at 5 feet 5 inches tall and weighing approximately 110 pounds, with brown, shoulder-length hair and blue eyes. Both of her ears are pierced. What she was wearing on the day she vanished isn't entirely clear. However, she was very likely to be wearing a cubic zirconia engagement ring. It should be noted that she did have a historical fracture in her arm, which may show up on an X-ray. Her son, Mark Stephen Martin, was 2 years old when he vanished alongside his mother. He is described as a Caucasian male, standing at 2 feet tall and weighing approximately 30 pounds, with sandy light brown hair and brown eyes. It's unclear what he was wearing on the day he disappeared. He is sometimes referred to by his nickname Marky, and he may have a lazy eye. DNA for both Carolyn and Mark are available for comparison. As of yet, no Jane or John Does have matched with the missing mother and son. Due to the circumstances involved, authorities believe that foul play is involved in this particular case. If alive today, Carolyn would be 68 years old, and her son, Mark, would be 46 years of age. Those with any information regarding the disappearance of Carolyn and Mark Martin are urged to contact Madison Heights Police Department at 248-585-2100.